Hi, I'm Emma Tolbert, and this is my Lest We Forget project. For this assignment, we are required to choose a controversial person from history and choose a biography about their life and conduct research. And we are also supposed to create a video about their life and why not they should be remembered. I chose Ronald Reagan, who was the 40th President of the United States, and he served from 1981 to 1989, and he's one of the most famous U.S. presidents in history. I chose the biography Ronald Reagan, a biography written by J. David Woodward, and this is a good source because he used many biographies and some of Reagan's autobiographies to put this book together. In his early life, he was born in 1911 on February 6th to Jack and Nell Reagan in this picture over here, and he was born in the small town of Tampico and grew up in Dixon, Illinois. He grew up with his dad out of the picture, and he realized it was because he was an alcoholic, and that is why his parents were separated. He graduated from Dixon High School and went to college at Eureka and graduated in 1932, and this is also where he got his start for acting, and he also played football in the picture below. And his wives and children. His first wife was Jane Wyman in the top right, and they had Maureen, Michael, and Kristen Reagan, and his second wife is Nancy Reagan in the bottom picture, and they had Ronald and Patty. And this is a family picture of them in the White House. Reagan's life before politics. Reagan's first job was a sports announcer at a radio station in Iowa, and then he got the position as the Chicago Cubs baseball announcer and broadcaster. In 1937, he was sent to California, and this is where he tried to become a successful actor. He finally got his big break in 1940 and landed the star of a movie, and the movie was the New Rockne All-American, and this is where everyone learned his name. Reagan also starred in a few more popular movies before being drafted for World War II, and if it wasn't for World War II, the movie King's Row probably would have made him a top-ranked actor. He was discharged in 1945 and continued his career in California. These are a few of his movie posters. His journey to politics. From 1954 to 1962, he was the host of the General Electric Theater and traveled the U.S. as a spokesperson. While he traveled the U.S., he explained why the government should not have too much control and spend too much money on unnecessary things. These were key ideas to his soon-to-come political career. His early political career as well. Ronald Reagan was a well-known Democrat and typically voted for Democrats, but in 1952 he started voting for Republicans such as Eisenhower and Nixon. Reagan said, "I guess it was in 1960 that I completed my political journey from liberal Democrat to dedicated Republican and officially registered as a Republican in 1962. He also gave the Goldwater speech in 1964 called A Time for Choosing, and after this, many Republicans liked him, and then in 1966 he ran for governor of California. In the speech, it covered why and how Goldwater is going to help our country by reducing government intervention and helping our economy. In 1965, a group of conservatives convinced him to run for governor of California, and while campaigning, he had a series of medical issues that lasted a year and a half and kept him from being able to campaign. The media declared him a lazy campaigner because of this. He won the Republican candidate for governor, and then he became governor in 1966 and won a second term in 1970. He attempted to run for president starting in 1968, and it would turn out successful. Late in the year 1980, Reagan won the presidential race for the Republican Party, and it was inaugurated on January 20th, 1981. Reagan was shot in 1981, but he did make a full recovery, and it says that the first thing he said to his wife after surgery was, "Honey, I forgot to duck." In 1984, he was re-elected and won in a landslide by 525 out of 538 electoral votes, and this was the last term he was able to run. His accomplishments. In the Cold War, Reagan helped end the Cold War by creating the Reagan Doctrine, and this helped people in other countries fighting against communism movements in their country. He especially used it to stop the Soviet Union and took a 10-day tour of Europe and said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." The wall was torn down soon after. This is an economic Reaganomics is an economic policy that President Reagan created during his presidency to help the U.S. economy recover, including increasing military spending, tax cuts, trying to stop the inflation of money, and less government regulation. Morning in America. Reagan started the trend for political ads, like on television, and creating them into commercials in 1984, and he was the first successful political ad during his second term. His death. He was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease in 1994 and died on June 5, 2004 at the age of 93. Nancy Reagan said, "I didn't want anyone to see him like that." Alzheimer was incurable, and he was laid to rest at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in California. Why is he controversial? In a conversation, he is heard using racial slurs, and he is also controversial for how he dealt with AIDS. He was considered homophobic because he didn't address AIDS, and this particularly affected gay people. And then he was also controversial for starting the Just Say No campaign. It is said that this campaign didn't do enough because drug usage numbers didn't decrease. He also promised a free market capitalism and did not completely succeed in doing so. He fell short on completely accomplishing this goal that ended with many Americans upset. Should he be remembered? Yes, he should be remembered. He was a great president for the U.S. and cared for us. Reagan should also be remembered in Hollywood because he was a star and amazing in the acting studios. Although he is controversial, the good outweighs the bad, and he is a very significant man in American history. Works cited: Ronald Reagan, a biography by J. David Woodward, Google Images, Screencast-O-Matic to create the video, and YouTube to upload the video. This is the end of my Lest We Forget project. Thank you.